Hey everybody, this is Iron Liz,
And this is Holly Christine Brown.
and
And
this is our commentary for the
Terry, yeah.
Suburban Nights. So, yeah, why don't we first start out about ourselves? I'm Iron Liz, and I was a production assistant for this third year anniversary movie, but also as an makeshift actor as one of the cloaks in there. So,
I could not have asked for a better production assistant in
oh.
Iron Liz. I was the line producer for Suburban Nights, so basically that means that anything that happens on set, the day-to-day issues that arise with production, that was all me taking care of it.
Yeah, like Ben lose wig, nostalgia chick not have make, or all the others they have.
Oh, you're kind of cutting out, Liz.
Oh,
Yeah, Liz, you can pull
shoot.
a plane out of your pocket. That'd be awesome.
Am I okay?
You're doing all right now.
Okay. Well, let me know if it gets worse.
Okay. So all of these shots that you're seeing right now with Bill in the car and meeting Malachite, this is all shot after the main part of production was shot. Everybody flew out here. We filmed the 4 days that we actually shot, and then we did a lot of shooting after the fact, and this is one of those shots.
Where exactly did you film this part?
This part, I actually don't recognize where they are even, but they are in Doug's car.
Okay.
And I know that because I helped Doug buy that car.
Yeah, I know when we were driving up there, because we were the only ones who drove, we didn't take the turnpikes or the toll roads, so we went through backcountry. And this looks like Illinois farmland.
Yeah, pretty much. We have what was a cornfield there? I don't know what's on the other side, but yeah.
It's funny, I noticed Malachite was holding his hat. That was kind of a common thing. It was really windy. So especially like the last shot where all the baddies are lined up, we actually had the witch lady hold on to her hat because it was just blowing away, and that was fairly common throughout the entire shoot.
Yeah, and if you've listened to the cast commentary at all, you've heard Noah say that the gag of his hat falling off is actually not a gag at all. It just, the wind kept taking it as he would run, and so we just wrote it in as...
It's an ongoing thing.
Yeah, an ongoing gag, and it was just a fluke.
So is Orlando going to be a producer, or is he just doing cameos now?
Pretty much he just does cameos, because he really loves to do the acting. I actually first met Orlando at my birthday party.
Really?
Yeah. Doug and Rob threw me an impromptu 30th birthday party.
Oh.
And Orlando was there, and that was how I first met him.
You're not supposed to say how old you are.
Oh, yeah. I'm clearly only 24, so I don't know what the big 3 on the cake was for. So.
Yeah, I know.
Dude, what are you on?
But yeah, that's when they were filming the Nostalgia Critic Christmas episode.
Yeah, and that's where everybody knows him initially from. And by the way, that is a creepily good shot right there.
That's Phelan right there.
Yeah.
Doing what Phelan does best.
With special effects.
Yeah. And when we first saw this, we were like, oh man, that's really dark.
Dark, yeah. Well, Malachite ends up killing how many people, so it does fit his character.
It does
definitely got that going.
Yeah. So, the guy who played Bill did some of this animation here. He actually happens to be one of Doug and Rob's roommates, so he ends up filling in for a lot of things, and this was one of those things. The drawings are by CR.
Which came out really, really good.
Yeah, I didn't even know that he was doing this until I actually saw the final cut, and I was like, "Who did this? This is so cool."
Well, as I mentioned on the other commentary, Brad pretty much came to. I just noticed this picture go by there. He pretty much came in costume, and he took the train from Springfield, and
That's one of my favorite stories.
yeah, when he arrived at the hotel, he's like, yeah, I have a room reservation for Jones.
Yeah, it was one of those things.
Indiana
Yeah,
Jones.
he didn't realize it until he was about to say it, and then he was like, "Oh man, I have to tell this lady that I'm Jones when I'm dressed up as Indiana Jones." The best part, though, I don't know if he told you this, is that his ringtone on his phone is the theme from Indiana Jones.
Oh, jeez.
And it was ringing while he was on the train. Because they were trying to figure out, like, how long he was going to be, so they kept calling him.
Oh, God.
And it would go off. I still have this idea that I want to do, hopefully sometime when he comes up here again, which is have him dress up in that outfit, and then just have him walk around, and then randomly call him and film it.
Yep,
and see what people do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I always said that Spoonie should really record at like a convention, just him dressed as Dr. Insano and just kind of interacting with people. I think that would be very interesting to watch.
I'd be interested to find out how many people realize that he is Spoonie and not just...
Yeah, apparently he's done that where people didn't recognize him.
Yeah, that he's
like,
just some
you're a good
Insano cosplayer. Yeah.
Hey, Mike Michaud.
How are you today?
Yeah.
Can't talk now. I just want a free car.
He's
What
the
a
head
freak
honcho.
Yeah. Mike Michaud is the god of Channel Awesome, pretty much.
Yep. Oh, poor Joe. That first day he blew his voice out.
He did. He did. It was like, I think the joke was well worth it. We were... Oh, man. Here we go. The nose. We had a hard time while he was filming this staying quiet, and he must have filmed this 4 times.
Yeah, at least 4 takes.
And we would crack up at the end, and it's
Oh, jeez, and
credit to Doug's editing.
and Matthew just grinning like an idiot. Yeah, I think originally when we shot this, it was probably like 7:30 in the morning, and Benzai was in the basement, which is why you don't see him in these opening shots, and it was completely ad-libbed to have him just kind of pop through Brad's legs.
Yeah, actually, he's behind Todd and Justin here. He was actually standing, highlighting his lines in the script. And then he was like, "Oh, I was supposed to be in those shots?
Whoops.
Oh. Some brain there just cracked me up. It's just creepy."
Yeah, he mugs really, really well. I think, if anything, look at him. He's just grinning there. But, yeah, this is actually fairly early in the morning, so the fatigue on people's eyes is actually genuine.
It is genuine. Yeah, ask a bunch of people who are basically nocturnal to be up and ready to leave the hotel at 7 a.m.
6 a.m. It was 6 a.m.
Oh, was that a 6 a.m. day?
Yeah, we'd be out there at 6 a.m., and basically it wasn't the whole, just show up around 6:15 kind of sort of. No, it was had to be there at 6 a.m., so that made some very long days of shooting.
Yeah, it did. It did. And Liz is one of the few people that was there every day we shot. So it was basically just the crew who was there every day. The actors were lucky enough to have days off.
Yeah, it was every other day.
But, yeah, for those of us who were there every day, by the end, we were just done.
Yeah. Well, the thing, too, is, like, this front entryway, or in the living room kitchen area, was kind of the hangout spot, if you were inside. And so it got really dirty. And
it did. That first day after people left the house was trashed.
Yeah, and I didn't have time, or I don't think the walkers actually had a mop. Ben's side. That's how we incorporated. But no,
He's so excited about this video.
the second day, the floor was just muddy.
Yeah, and then we actually did have people offer to clean up, but we also told them that unless this place gets clean, you're never going back to the hotel. Larry Prince here is actually Doug and Rob's father.
Who I got to meet. Very, very nice. And he
Barney
puts up
is
with all of our bullshit. Awesome
Yeah.
cameo.
Yeah, well, I think we shot 2 takes, and they were pretty much exactly the same. He gave me no direction whatsoever. Just look over here.
That's very
And-
odd, because
Oh, my cameo, I actually showed up at their house for a meeting, and Doug says, "Oh, hey, by the way, while you're here, can you do a cameo?" Sure.
Oh, God. Also, Rob is very good at mugging.
Yeah.
And that chair, by
That
the
w-
way, is really comfortable.
Oh, yeah, that's, we shot that at a friend's house. That's their massage chair. And after the second day of filming for us, it was Team 1's day of filming, we went over to that house. That was the final shots of the day. And I said, "Liz, sit in that chair." No, really, sit in that chair.
It's like, I don't know what this is doing to my spine, but it feels great, because it's basically a massage chair. I almost fell asleep in that several times. I think that was probably the most difficult day, just because everybody was still kind of new to the shooting schedule, and they didn't dress for the weather.
No, it was it was hard because it was so much colder than we thought it was going to be.
38 degrees through that second day of shooting, and yeah. We were
And-
outside pretty much most of the day.
Yeah. And to be totally honest, Benzai freezing his balls off,
Kind of his own fault, but
kind of his own fault because he had his coat in the car
yeah.
and he didn't want to go get it. I was like, "I'll go get it for you." And he was like, "No, it's okay."
I'll just stand here and freeze, I guess.
I was like, "All right." Eventually, Lindsay offered to share her pajama pants with him, which she was wearing underneath her dress, which helped them both out, really, because she was complaining about how tight her dress was, and part of that was because she was wearing pants under it. And then Ben was able to stay a little bit warmer.
There is a picture floating around somewhere where Benzai has the pajama pants jacked up above the kilt that he's got, and he's got this goofy look on his face.
Yeah, that's on my fan page on
Okay,
Facebook.
yeah,
So if you go to my
check that.
fan page on Facebook, you can see a bunch of behind the scenes and pictures and just shooting pictures too that are stills of what was going on as we shot. So
Yeah, that specific day that we were shooting outside too, Doug didn't check the times for the park, so it was closed when we got there. So the two most important things I remember from that was going to the donut shop and Benzai getting really gassy from the food there, but also when we were driving back out to the park, Barga was shuttling a group of people. And we were trying to get into... We were in the middle lane, he was in the right lane, and we had to be in the right lane to turn
Yeah.
right. And he
Oh.
kept speeding up and slowing down, so we couldn't do it, so we had to cut off the next person, or the next car behind us, right in front of a cop car.
yeah, no, I think I just swore like a sailor at that point. I was like, if I get a ticket, Bargo is paying for it.
Yeah, no kidding. But
Because I was so mad. I was like, Bargo, like, ugh.
oh, LOL, Bargo.
LOL Bargo. Yes, that was definitely the meme of shooting. This is LOL Bargo.
Yeah. Well, several times, too, I mentioned this in the other video, too, but I think you asked him to go get some highlighters or something like that, and he came back like 3 hours later with like 5 copies of the script. Which
Yeah,
I guess
no highlighters.
full, but no highlighters. It's like, if we gave him a cow, he'd come back with some magic beans, you know? But...
No, because magic beans would have been useful.
Or,
I'm kidding. It was actually useful to have the copies of the script. I just don't understand why he didn't make more than one stop to
right.
get highlighters.
Or I think he said he went to Kinko's, and I'm pretty sure they sell highlighters there, but...
Yeah, there was the whole Coffee with Bargo is sort of just how Bargo thinks and communicates naturally. So, there was some big long story about how they were redoing Kinko's, and he had somebody else in the car, and they went to his house, and just this whole big long thing I can't even remember now. And I got to jump back here for a second. That shot where Film Brain squeezes the cup of coffee, they were actually brewing a cup because they have one of those single cup brewers at their house. And I was like, what are you brewing a cup of coffee for? And they were like, so we can use it to shoot with. Well, I had bought coffee from Starbucks that morning.
Yep.
And this was, this is pretty much like right before we broke for lunch. And I was like, why don't you just use this? Because you're going to have to wait for that to cool. This is going to be much cooler already. And just throw a little ice in there.
Yep.
Be perfect.
I think the other time that, I think with Phelan's costume, we hadn't quite finished the pants or something like that, and we had to go get poster paint. Or something from Michael's, or spray paint, or spray adhesive.
And you know what else I bought? Highlighters.
But I do remember, though, when we were leaving the store, there was some kid trying to sell perfume, and his thing was, I bet you want to smell nice, huh? Like,
we had Benzai with us.
He's French. I think that was what we said.
Yeah. He's French. He doesn't want to smell nice. It's cool. Thanks, though.
I just thought that was a really bad, you suck at trying to sell perfume.
Yeah. Orlando there. That is, super menacing.
Yep. Oh, jeez. I loved at the beginning of the shoot here in the hotel before everything got started. He said, I'm kind of self-conscious and I'm going to be wearing this thing, and please don't look up my skirt. But I think at least a dozen times the wind picked it up or he bent over, so everybody got a full view of Doug's butt.
He kept bending over, not realizing that, he bends over and
we
his
see
ass
everything.
is out.
It's like you squat if you're going to bend over in a miniskirt. Spoonie's ratty beard. That material isn't... It's really, matted. So that's how it sticks together for the curls. And after a while, apparently it was in his mouth, and it was not happy.
Yeah.
So,
well, he was less uncomfortable than Sage with the fur that kept shedding off of his hood.
Yeah.
Oh, and here we are with the beard.
I think he was worried. I think he said that it wouldn't wash off completely for the crossovers, which is why we didn't incorporate it anymore. Which is probably good, because the makeup kit that we had was kind of...
No, actually what happened is the second day he forgot.
Oh, he did? Okay.
Yeah, and so then we just wrote it into the script that he ran out. Because I did have face paint that would have worked, but we already knew that we were going to be pushing it for getting everything shot on time.
And I don't know if this will reach a larger audience, but I should probably tell the story anyway. So, Lindsay forgot her makeup kit at the hotel, and when we went back to get Benzai, or try to locate Benzai's wig, because he also misplaced it, she said, oh yeah, my makeup bag is somewhere in my suitcase. It should be, next to my underwear. And so I was looking through it, and I was like, I couldn't find it, so I just kind of gingerly went through her underwear, and then I thought for a second, how did I get here? I was a fan, now I'm rooting through the Nostalgia Chick's underwear, so... But I found the makeup bag and brought it to her. I just thought it was a moment of, whoa, how did I get here?
It's very bizarre. I had a lot of those moments where I'm like, wow.
This is odd.
Weird.
Sort of like finding the box of condoms in Benzai's suit.
Oh yeah.
Turning it upside down. Benzai, what do you expect to do on this trip? Oh, Phelan.
And Phelan's costume, which I made.
Yep.
I was amazed at how many people actually guessed that he was the Rockbiter without, just by looking at the costume. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. You people actually know?
How long did it take you to make it?
I actually made it in 2 days. The first day was several hours, and that was just cutting the spheres because they're spheres for flower arranging. I just cut them all in half, decided where they would go on the outfit, and glued them on. And then I did the first coat of paint that night.
Okay.
And then, actually, while people were filming on this day, I worked on finishing the pants and putting a light coat of paint on the back. And to think, I was really concerned that he was going to be too hot, and for the majority of the shoot, he was the only person who was comfortable.
Yep.
Because he just put the sweats on over his clothes, and he was good to go. So he got 2 layers of clothing in 30-degree weather, and, Benzai has a cloak and a kilt.
Which isn't even technically a kilt, because kilts are made of tartan, which is wool.
I don't know what we want to call it. Yeah. But yeah, film brain in that line. That was an improvised line because the script called for him to say tit twice in a row. And he was like, no, I wouldn't do that. And so he improvised that line. And I think we actually had to shoot that twice because we all laughed so hard the first time that he said it that we had to do it again.
It's funny, too. Lupa has, in her videos, when she has kind of a surprised face, she kind of makes an O with her mouth. So there was kind of an ongoing thing between the two of us. Like, we'd be standing on set, and she would kind of make the O face at me, and then I'd do the same thing back. And it was interesting, because she was dressed as the princess thing.
I love the entire movie that Mickey just wants to kill Doug. He's just like...
All right, so you SOB, gonna kick your butt. I think
I love this line from Luke that is coming.
Ride with someone else.
I don't want to ride with him.
Apparently, it's funny too because apparently, sounded like Pa was gonna be Jareth from Labyrinth, and if you notice in the beginning of the shoot there, he was wearing a David Bowie shirt, and he looked. So I kind of picked up on that. Handsome Tom really nailing the Willow outfit.
Yeah. That wig might have been one of the best wigs of the entire shoot, also.
I thought he kind of looked like Scarlet from behind. He's X, but yeah, he's very tall, and she's very tall as well.
For those of you wondering, and you don't know yet, that's when Justin showed up. He called Lindsay pretty much as soon as he landed, I think, and was like, I need you to buy me the largest cucumber that you can find. And he stuffed the cucumber in a sock and then stuffed it in his pants.
I think, too, originally we wanted to have Benzai pop out between his legs as well to do because I think that was the same time that, like, the Hi, my name is Benzai, that song came out.
Yeah.
So, it's too bad we didn't, though. I think we were pressed for time, though.
Yeah, there were a lot of fun ideas that people came up with, especially regarding these costumes. But the way that the shooting schedule shook out, we didn't have time.
Well, not to mention, too, that this is a full-length movie. There were pages of the original script that were cut.
Yeah, there's a good portion of the script that actually didn't make it. Not only through editing of the script, but as we shot, we realized there's no way we can get all of this done. We can't even shoot it all. So we were just cutting lines here and there as we went.
Yeah, there was a whole section with a zombie woman, but we had to cut that part out. And there was an ongoing storyline that Phelan was turning into a zombie because he gets bitten by her. but that was dropped.
Yeah.
But I can't say, it's a bad thing necessarily because, like you said, there's just so much content and we didn't have time to film it.
And it's like, even watching this, I forget that there were pages of the script that we took out because it still tells a complete story. You're never wondering, why is this happening? Or if you are, it's one of those things that does eventually get resolved. And everybody, the lines are pretty well distributed. There are really no small parts, except for Luke's part did get shortened, and that's something that we really were sad about and we didn't want to have to do. But Luke got really sick during this shoot.
Mm-hmm.
And he lost his voice completely. At one point, he just couldn't even talk. I had to get him tea, and I bought him cold medicine. It was so sad.
Yeah, after the first day of shooting, I think when he wasn't needed, he was in the basement sleeping.
Yeah.
And he was tired and he was worn out, so...
Yeah, and that was the first day. The second day, he couldn't keep any food down, and I was like, okay, that's it. I'm going to the grocery store. Whatever you want, buddy. That's what I'm buying for you.
Yeah.
And he looks at me, he's like, can I have some Cheerios?
Aww.
I was like, aw, yes. Yes, you can have Cheerios. So I bought him a box of Cheerios. I was like, are you sure that's the only thing you want? Yeah.
Luke Mockery is so nice, and he's very talented, but he's just got a very bright personality, and it's really bad to see him when he was just miserable those couple.
Yeah. It was sad because I really wanted to play Mario Kart with him too, because if you've ever heard him play Mario Kart, he just swears up a storm. It's like he's such a nice, easygoing guy naturally, and then he just completely loses it playing Mario Kart. And he doesn't even have to be playing anyone in particular. He could just be playing against the computer against
just starts
the console. And yeah.
These, here we go. Yeah, if you notice on the one, you can see kind of the hair kind of underneath the hood there, but...
I don't think anybody had any idea it was you until it was put into the credits.
Yeah.
Well, I think somebody did say something about it early on. So those people who follow, I think it was Lupus Stream, where you might have mentioned it.
Okay.
People knew that. But there was a big guessing game about who the other cloak was.
If you look here closely, too, you can see steam coming out of Handsome Tom's mouth. It was cold that morning. I think this was about 9 a.m.
Yeah, poor Mickey there. Oh. At least he had tights, though.
True.
He's a little better.
We were just down the trail, sitting on a log and in the chair.
But yeah, you'll notice now we're seeing shots where you can see Phelan's pants, and that's because when we shot that first day inside, pants weren't ready, so we just tried to make sure that the shots were pretty much from his waist up. So there are a couple of shots, if you are watching very carefully, that you can see his jeans, but for the most part, you don't really know. And then the part that they shot for the trailer is actually shot on the third day of filming. So that just shows you the kind of order that we usually shoot these kinds of things in.
Yeah, Doug's actually fairly picky about how he wants things done. His copy of the script had every sort of storyboard and every shot, pretty much, that he wanted to get drawn out.
Yeah, we're making him do real storyboards this year, but his scripts are always fun to look at because he always has the...
And his doodle. He has a very distinctive doodle type, and it's...
Yes.
Do you still have the copies of all the scripts? Because those would be good eBay items.
We do have some of them. From last year, I actually have test copies of the DVDs.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I don't actually know. The song choices were Lewis's pick, right?
Yes. I think he tried to pull in some Wicked in there as well. I can't remember if every single time they were different or not, but I know he did have kind of a roster that he cycled through. See, it was interesting when we shot these spots, because initially I think people thought, okay, we're just going to have the hand puppet be the only villain, and having the puppeteer kind of breaks that.
Yeah.
But as it went on, I think it was a better effect anyway. And just when these sequences were released, they're meant to be watched from start to finish in order, not just one at a time, and it makes more sense than why, instead of, you know, these turned in the story's continuity. These were friends that were given magic and what have you. They weren't actually mythical creatures.
This is my friend, Dave Myers. This puppet actually belongs to Rob and Doug. Their family used to do this big Halloween haunted house kind of thing every year, and that's one of the props. And I was like, that thing is gross. It's really scary. I think you should sell it. Like, this is me trying to get them, like, no, don't keep this. They're like, no, this is a really great prop. All right.
See, I thought it was kind of cute. I'm a cat person, though, so that's my own.
I'm a cat person, too, but if my cat ever looked at me like that, I would think that I was living in Pet Cemetery. So, when people first read the script, everybody thought the cat from the site was actually going to be playing Cat. Which would have been cute. It was just one of those, we only have so much money to fly people out and put them up for days and feed them. And
see, I thought it was more of a, you know, from Red Dwarf, that kind of cat, kind of just, wow, I'm Cat.
Yeah.
But it was actually a cat puppet, which is okay. And some of these angles, too, with just that one before with him kind of like that, just turning, I think those are really well shot.
I do too.
And considering, too, that this was kind of the second day that we really did any significant filming outside, they did some really good shots with the amount of time we had.
Yeah. Allison there with the swooning. She cracks me up in the background of every shot. I like the cat got the epic roar, and Bennett just got hit it. Tom explaining again who he is.
The tail on Bennett's costume, I think when they were walking down the path, he stepped on it and it broke off.
Yeah, so somewhere I have the tip of Bennett's tail.
It got really gross, though, because
it was really disgusting.
And it ended up falling in puddles, and, you know, just, we tried safety pinning it on, but it just didn't stay, and it got really gross and soggy and covered with dirt, so.
Yeah.
And I think she's speaking Hindi right now.
Yeah, and a lot of it, she's speaking Hindi. Some of it's just nonsense. I honestly don't know where she came up with all of this stuff to say. I think it was just, she kind of improv'd it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there was one of the last days we were filming, she was in front of a green screen in the normal Nostalgia Critic spot where he does the shooting, just kind of for at least 20-30 minutes just going on and on and on in her various gibberish.
Yeah. And then we come back to Snow White.
So, I heard one of the reasons that Obscurus Lupa was able to make the shoot was that, Lord Cat basically went on and did his own thing, so he got, she kind of replaced him.
We knew that we wanted to try and incorporate more women, and that's always my number one thing as, the one woman executive at Channel Awesome, is I want women to, get more parts and have more exposure through the site.
Well, she did a great job. I was just wondering.
She did.
Because she was fairly new, but in relative terms, I mean.
Right. Well, the way we do casting is essentially we try to keep one basic set who comes back through the years, and then it becomes people who we think deserve to see more exposure on the site.
Okay.
That, with Lindsay right there, was actually just a fluke. She, and that's why there's the music and voiceover over it, because she caught her cape on it, and we all laughed hysterically. And they were like, you know what, we're just going to use that take.
Yep, just the one take, and the two of us were sitting kind of at the side, and it looked really good on the side. I wish we had gotten that angle, too, because it was also... She kind of, if you notice, she shrugs both of her shoulders, and it's perfect. 1 in a million reaction shots that she actually got herself distangled and everything.
That just cracks me up. I never knew how he was at acting, because his parts before just weren't that big, and he just took that and ran with it.
Oh, and the exchange between these two.
Yeah, you can actually kind of hear that Luke is sick, and this is very early in the day still, when he still had his voice.
Yeah, I think we actually shot, this is Team 2, we shot this stuff on Easter.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, so...
This was all shot on Easter.
It was pretty nice, because the park that we were in eventually comes out into a large, where the jungle gym equipment is, it's surrounded by apartments. So we didn't get that much traffic, which is good. This would have made filming a little bit more tricky. Although there was that family on bikes that came by when we were shooting the segments with the machine guns. That was a little awkward.
We had that happen a lot during outdoor shots where, especially when you come to the climax of the film, just people driving by. And we did actually have people honk and yell. And...
Yep, and we had people kind of pull up a chair and watch.
Yeah, poor film bring. Go further back.
Yeah, and in real life, Brad took a train, but he had to do I think the bit with the belt.
The flight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's done any professional acting or anything, but he was channeling Harrison Ford through pretty much every single line.
He and Rob often like to do exchanges of move quotes, and Indiana Jones is one of those things.
I remember when we went to, I think it was after the first day of shooting or the second day, I can't remember which, but we went to it was like a tavern or something like that, and the food was really bad and the drinks were really weak, but just talking in the front of the car with Rob, doing the critic quotes. Mrs. Pelt's fish sticks, made with country goodness and green penis. Wait, that's horrible. And just doing that exchange back and forth. And actually, I talked to Rob in the car about Red Dwarf, so we're huge nerds. It's funny, too. I actually still have tan lines where those gloves I'm wearing were actually dry gloves. And I still, like, around the, where it Velcro's at the top, I have just lines of suntan skin.
Yeah, it was still cool these days, but it definitely wasn't nearly as cold as it was previously. And we did the one fatal thing that everybody does when it's cold, is they don't think about sunscreen.
Yep. And Doug just got cooked.
Doug, he sunburns probably easier than anyone I've ever known. I don't even know how it happened, but even in his shoes, he managed to get sunburned.
God.
Because I remember him taking off his boots, and the top of his feet were just completely red.
I have no idea how that works. And apparently, too, Bargo was originally supposed to get birdseed, but he forgot. So these are sugar packets that we got with the coffee from the first day of filming, I think.
In some cases, they're sugar packets, and then later on...
Too magic.
Yeah. Yeah, those are the sugar packets. Later on, which is actually earlier in the shoot, which is kind of weird to explain, it's actually crushed up Fritos in a napkin. But we ran out of pretty much everything at some point during the shoot.
Yeah, the snacky food that we had, I think pretty much all of it got eaten on one of the days just because we were out for so long. Especially in this area, it's kind of in...
Well, in Team 2 ate so much more food than Team 1. It was kind of amazing. I think it was just too cold for people to care about eating the first day we shot.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit more comfortable, so... And for these guys, it was shooting 2 days in a row. We shot the climax on Saturday, and then we shot all of this stuff on Easter Sunday. So they were tired, they were worn out to begin with, and
well, I think the day this was shot, we had Popeye's chicken for
yes, we did
for lunch.
That was the biggest order of chicken I have ever ordered, and they were nice enough to like carry it out to the car for me. It was.
Yeah.
They were really nice about it.
That was the one day I wasn't able to help you because I was dressed as the cloak. I couldn't leave.
Yeah. Yeah, because you were actually filming. And there we go back for the hat.
And now the sword is taped.
Yeah. I don't know at what point he broke it.
It was the first day of filming. I think he was like on the stairs or something and just kind of poking it at the ground and it snapped.
Okay. I was going to say, because other than, like, that very first shot in the house, it's taped all the other times,
yep.
So it was like, I don't know when he broke it. This effect was by Apollo Z Hack. He did a couple of effect shots, and Phelan did the majority of them. So, and they both did a really great job. We could not have...
Definitely.
Done this without them at all.
What really sells it is the dirt getting pushed up or knocked up.
Yeah.
Which adds a great effect to it. And if you'll notice on that chair in the lower right, there's a bunch of dirt caked around. That's because we were sitting on it, but the ground was so soft and just kind of just wet that that's where it sunk into the ground.
Yeah, we had to keep pulling it out of the ground. And
on the side of the trail, there's just a bunch of pockmarked holes from where...
Yeah.
And I think, too, initially we didn't need this for... I think this was shot around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So there was a good part of the day we didn't actually need it, but the two of us were just, we're on set waiting for anything that needs doing.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, I want to sit down, but the ground is really soggy. We did manage to find a log to sit on.
Yeah, there was one really great log, because you can see that piece of fencing in the background. At some point, you were able to sit on it, but we shot in the same basic, probably 100 yards this whole shoot. And it's just a credit to Rob finding the right shots that you don't really get that we didn't actually go anywhere.
Yeah.
We're kind of always in the same place.
And those fences too were just really, really sketchy because they're kind of falling off the path. So
at one point there's a picture of this. Phelan and Mickey and Tom are sitting on it. And they're all spaced like Tom is on one end, Phelan is on the other end, and Mickey is in the middle because nobody wanted to sit very close to each other because they were afraid if they got too many people in one spot that it would just give way.
And the hill behind it is fairly steep, so if you fell off, you could get seriously injured. So
for this shot, Doug thought it was funny when he wrote it, but then he realized when it came to do it, he was really self-conscious. And so I had to keep telling him, you got to open your legs wider. You have to open your legs wider. No, trust me. This will be funnier. Open your legs wider.
It's interesting, too, because if you notice the sky, it's kind of overcast. But on Doug, it's sunnier. Just shot them separately. Just because in the beginning of that day, it was sunnier, but then it got progressively cloudier, and the next day we got rained out. So it's funny looking at it now. You can really notice that. But
yeah, well, because some of this is actually his shots and her shots. Some of them are on the same day.
Yes.
So although a lot of Doug's shots were done separately after the fact, just to save us time. Okay, I'll mention this now because it was something I noticed, and I wonder how many other people noticed this. The first day when I did his makeup, I did the section between his goatee and his lower lip. And the second day, I could not remember what I had done. And so I was like, oh, man. And I was like, well, you know, I'll just not loop it there again.
You're going to be a lady and like it. Oh, God, she nails that line. Just the hysteric anger behind it.
Yeah. Bargo. That's Bargo's contact there.
I think, too, with the scene with Phelan and Sage, originally, I think Doug was kind of getting tired and just, it was near, I think around 5 or 6 o'clock, and we had to get to the other location to do the shooting in the house, and I remember you telling me specifically, like, don't tell Doug what time it is.
If Doug asks you what time it is, tell him that we have time.
Or like an hour, before what actually it is, or just an hour
Doug
earlier.
Just started slashing parts of the script, and I was like, no, we can't do this. We can't cut this much script. It's never going to even out. So I told everybody who had to watch.
Lie about it.
Don't tell him what time it is. Tell him that we have time, because he wanted to leave here at 4 o'clock. And I think we were there until about 6.
Yeah.
Because I just told Rob, listen, we're all lying to Doug about how much time we have left. Just push him, make him get it done.
Yeah, and he was willing to cut scenes and that. This is the second day of shooting was where a lot of the melancholy, I think, came, where, we were concerned we couldn't get it done, and Doug specifically was worried that people were not, having fun with it or were getting worn out, but it was the complete opposite. We were all willing to do it. It's just...
Yeah, no, it was this day that Doug just, at the end of the day, he felt completely overwhelmed. It was so cold, and then when it rained on that Friday, he was like, that's it, we're never going to get it done, because we realized that actors were only available on particular days. So despite the fact that we had written more days and to be able to shuffle things around, the actors were not able to make those changes. The bit parts who were all local people. So yeah, it was and I think it really does show the evolution of the scripts and the stories, and just the website in general. Is that this is the first year that that I kind of got the impression that, Doug kind of did everything by himself. He did the script, the writing, the blocking, the shooting. And Doug is totally one of those people. He likes to do it all by himself because that's what he's used to.
Yeah.
And he talks a little bit about this in the behind the scenes, but that's what he's used to, and now he's realizing that it's gotten so large that, you have to delegate. Yeah. And essentially on the film, that's what my job is to do all of those things that Doug hasn't thought of or isn't thinking of or that need to get done, and we just don't have any time. I figure out how to make it happen.
Right. I think for next year too, might be a good idea to get catering or have like an on-site like meat and cheese tray or something like that.
Yeah, there's definitely gonna have to be more food. That's one of the biggest things we learned. I mean, they bought way more food than they had during the shoot of Kick-Assia, and people still went through it completely.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too, that I think was getting people, they were tired and hungry, especially during those shots in the house, because, we hadn't eaten for a long time.
Well, and during most of Team 1, coming up here are some of my favorite shots of the film. They're just beautiful.
Cock-blocked.
Yeah. Literally.
Yep. It's funny, too, Justin's actually running in, like 2-inch heels, I think. 2 or 2.
I think his boots are actually a little, I guess, but I think they're platform.
Yeah, no.
Luke in that stunt there just totally goes for it.
Yep, he sold it.
While he's sick. But this shot of them running across the field, this is beautiful.
Oh, that field was covered in goose poop, and it was soggy.
Yeah, everybody does a really good job here. I do have to mention, a lot of people think that Doug is doing the voice for Cloak number 1, which is the big cloak. Mm-hmm. That is actually the Last Angry Geek, and that is a voice that he is putting on as the Cloak. So.
Mm-hmm. There was a couple shots too that we weren't able to do because they had like these 2 horsey type things, and we wanted to have a Cloak on one of them waving his arm against another person who's on one of them, and they're just stationary. But
yeah, that's behind the scenes too, and you see that, and you see why it's not working.
Just we're way too big.
Yeah. Last Angry Geek, Brian, in that slide just cracks me up.
Well, I think when Luke went down, he got covered in junk too, because this is just the start of the day, so.
Yeah. No, this was the very first thing that was shot on this day. All of this was first, and then all of the rest of Team 2 is later. I like the duality here.
Yeah, more rage.
Rage, more rage. Your anger will...
Oh,
like,
Brad here. This cracked everybody up for a good 2 or 3 takes. Prepare to meet Kali in hell. Dong.
Oh shit.
What's wrong?
No, this is him going like,
yeah,
well, this is really not working. Todd in this entire fight is just gold. All of the different fighting he's doing.
It's funny too, just the idea that we're basically fighting with plastic swords, and people said, "Oh, it looks phony," and that's kind of the point. No.
Yeah, it's sort of like, what do you mean it looks... Did you think it was gonna look real?
Yeah, like we have fight choreographers? No. And this whole scene. Poor Mars girl.
Oh, poor Mars girl. Her skirt was very short.
Well, it was ripping.
Yeah, and it kept tearing apart. And she kept pinning it together, but yeah, this was actually sort of close that everybody had to be on the other side of her.
Yeah.
Except for you.
Yeah, I kept helping her adjust her skirt so it didn't show too much, but it's like, oh, sorry.
Todd here.
He falls over back. I think that was real.
Yeah. Noah and that staff. This is my friend Jory and her daughter Brianna right here. We were concerned because Jory is really short, and Brianna's pretty tall. But Brianna's acting just sells it that, you know, she's a little kid and she's kind of freaked out here. and Jory's gonna kill him.
She does have a scary mom face. I mean, that's...
She totally does.
I think, if you'll notice on the far right, I'm actually being cut off, but I initially kind of tried to channel, for folks who play Team Fortress 2, the pyro if you lose and you're running around. I was trying to do the pyro animation a little bit and be just kind of way too animated and whatnot. And I think this park was actually, 2 blocks from their house?
Yeah.
And hopefully, I don't know if it'll actually get in the footage there, but one of the shots actually came in and said, you're off the bowling team. That was implied.
But yeah, Noah and that staff, it showed up at my house, but it was under his eBay name. And so I had no idea who it belonged to. I mean, props were being sent to my house, but I had no clue. And I opened it up and I was like, holy shit, this thing is awesome! Of course, now I have the problem of figuring out how to send it back.
Yeah, because he couldn't take it on the plane with him.
Yeah.
I think Lewis actually sent his Power Ranger helmet to
my house.
To the house, because he wanted to do a crossover with his Green Ranger outfit, but didn't have the proper helmet.
Wait, this guy couldn't spell word jack shit. Hey, you need a T in here in order for this pun to work.
Yeah.
The glasses really do sell it. I don't know whose idea that was, but it's great.
I think it was actually hers because she was having a problem getting the nose to stay on. And it's obviously not the same color as her skin tone. So she worked a lot with the makeup to try to get it to work. And I think the glasses were like, well...
She reminds me a lot of Filbert from Rocko's Modern Life, just like as a female witch. For anybody who's listening and knows who Filbert is.
I haven't thought of that show in forever.
God. You know, in this universe's continuity, these critics are just such jerks.
They are. They all stand there and laugh.
Oh, it's just so condescending. Like, even if there's those shots, it's like, oh, man.
And then she's like, I'm done with this, all right. Like, everybody's laughing, except for Lindsay, which I don't...
She kind of has a sad
really
face.
know.
Yeah, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but... I gotta love that shrieking Doug does. I'm surprised he didn't blow his voice out, because I think that was 4 or 5 takes to get the shriek correct.
Yeah, thankfully there's like a little slight pause in there, because at some point you're like, okay, is he gonna stop? No, really. Okay, I'm done with this.
I think the mace, too, that Handsome Tom uses, that people really didn't see what it was at first.
Yeah, I felt sort of bad about that, because there were a lot of questions about what happened in that shot. And when Tom walks up to her, he's actually holding pepper spray in his hand. And you just can't really see it, so you don't really know what's going on.
I think the Handsome Tom and Mickey actually did pepper spray themselves at one point.
No, they didn't.
Oh, they didn't.
So, okay, what happens is Mickey finds out that we have this pepper spray, and he's like, let's pepper spray me for a video, it'll be really funny. And there's this ongoing joke about me and Mickey and me punching him in the kidney for things that he has done wrong. And I did actually punch him in the kidney. I snuck up on him between takes, and and punched him in the kidney and then walked away. Because I told him, I'm not going to tell you when it's going to happen. You're not going to know. Just bam, in the kidney. But so Tom really wanted me to be the one to pepper spray Mickey. And I was like, okay, well, if you can get him to say on camera that he asked me to do this before I do it, then we're okay. And he's like, yeah, that's fine. And after the end of every day of shooting, Mickey just didn't want to do it, and he didn't want to do it, and he didn't want to, so we ended up not doing it.
Now, who is she? I don't recognize her from anywhere.
She's actually in some of Doug's really early videos. This is a friend of his. And yeah, that's because I saw this and I was like, who is that girl?
Yeah.
I have no idea who she is.
She looks a lot like Kirsten Dunst.
She does, yeah.
I remember reading this part in the script and thinking, like, who are they going to have to do this part? Because, you know, the it's supposed to be somebody anonymous, and the female reviewers, you know, are acting, so who's that person going to be? But I think she did a good job with it, especially, too, how she's basically playing a ditz.
Yeah, no, yeah, I love that. I don't know, I can't look that far into the future. I was like, okay.
You have to wonder, too, with Orlando, he has a very, in these parts, he has a very intense speaking pattern. I mean, I wasn't around with these specific shots, because I think they were done after the...
Yeah, these are all pickup shots that were done after everybody went home.
But he's, I don't know if he has to pump himself up or not.
I know, because he's really a very carefree, easygoing guy.
He is, he's really nice.
Like, when you see him do Malachite, you're like, holy shit.
Yeah, it's just this unbridled anger that he really is good at selling, so...
I like Todd's constant, I'm interpreting what Gandalf Spoonie is saying. Oopsie doodle.
Or the line of, it's they like go, it's because they like go-go boots or something like that. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, and in these shots, Spoonie's got his hair, the hair pulled back.
Oh, I figured that it was just bobby pins. I didn't realize that as he turns his head, you see my hair tie in his hair. Yep. I'd completely forgotten about that.
Oh, in these shots, too. Apparently Spoonie with the gatekeeper's wife.
I loved it.
Like, apparently he shot, like, several different versions of, like, a cute and sweet one, like, you know, a bored one, and then I think this one he said was cigarette hag.
Well, I totally get that.
Oh, and this is actually, the reference here is from one of Spoonie's videos, where he does a board game that has a video in it that you play while you're playing it, and periodically this character will stop and just kind of yell at you or tell you to do stuff. And that review is fairly old, and I think that's one of the most iconic things from Spoonie's, you know, review library that he knows of, so...
Yeah, well, so my dad shot him line that the anonymous girl says earlier is a reference to one of Doug's old videos.
Yep.
So
I think that was that surfing movie or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but Seth Green was in it.
There are a lot of questions about Film Brain and Luke's costumes here. It was just, we told them Harry Potter, it would be nice if you could match. If you don't match exactly, that's cool. And so it was just a fluke that we have two different time periods of Harry Potter's life represented in costume here.
I think what really helps Matt's facial expressions, too, is I think he said that he was getting really tired by this part of the shoot. so he couldn't really open his eyes all the way. And so he kind of has this half-open or just kind of dazed, stupid look about him that just... I don't know if you can replicate it normally, but damn.
Yeah.
I don't think those are actual glasses either, are they?
No, those are fake. I actually own a pair of those. And there is like plastic in there to be the lens, but they're not real glasses. I have rock waiting.
Oh, jeez.
Well, I figured it out. We take the path to the right.
I like how nobody says anything to him about it. And then he's like, wait a second. They're not even looking at me.
So many people thought he was supposed to be Jim Butcher, which I found interesting.
Huh.
From that series of books. Jim Butcher's local, so...
I heard a lot of Harry Dresden.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Harry Dresden, that's what I mean. Jim Butcher.
Okay.
That.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was like, I kept trying to tell people, no, this is an original character. I know that you have this idea of what Harry Dresden looks like, but trust me, it's not Harry Dresden.
Gestapo-looking person?
Reveal shot!
Map!
Great shot, by the way. If you'll notice that side angle, it reflected in his shades there is his arm holding the paper. I didn't notice that at first, but that's a really...
Some of those shots with him were so hard to do because they kept seeing the cameraman in the reflected in his lens. Oh, and if you notice real quick there, Justin was just done with the shoes, and he's actually wearing his pink Converse in that shot.
Oh, and this we did in one take as well.
You're a terrible shot.
I know. Well, so is Joe, though, but... yeah, we were doing this one shot, and, this is the...
Well, it looks like Joe would be better, but a lot of his shots are deflected by the sword.
Yeah.
So.
The Cloak 2 Don't Be a Hero shot, that was, Last Angry Geek basically telling me to, move back, we're supposed to be retreating, you're still kind of dipping around, and...
Except for, aren't you Cloak 3?
I think so. It got messed up several times.
Yeah.
Because in one of the shots, I think it says, on that Jungle Jimmy, oh god, this seriously is just...
Yeah. And Luke's voice, when he said that, you can hear that his voice was totally gone. So there's actually parts where he was going to have his alter egos show up, Ringo and, now I'm blanking on the name.
Yeah, but, the little talking heads thing that he does.
Yeah. And that was going to be in there from Film Conscious, and yeah, he couldn't talk at all. So we had to cut it. We had to redistribute a lot of his lines.
Oh, jeez. Matthew just sells it.
Yeah.
Oh, and this is actually, and I mentioned this again in the other commentaries, but this is Zach the Lego Maniac's house.
Yes, this is Zach the Lego Maniac.
Zach, he's a Lego Maniac. Actually, about where the camera's positioned right now, about 2 feet behind it, is an enormous Death Star Lego model. And it's just sitting in his living room.
Yeah, he has, all of those Lego models from Zach the Lego Maniac. Those are really, honestly, all of Jay's Legos. So...
And they're all scattered about his house. Oh, and then, this line, the big, strong hands. Half of the people were in the basement kind of relaxing, and we heard that line, and we all just started cracking up.
It's because you said he's talking about his balls. That's why we all lost it, and then we got in trouble.
I forgot
because
about
we
that.
ruined the day. Yeah. He's talking about his balls, and then we just lost it, and yeah, we got in trouble.
Yeah. Doug's, everybody quiet! Guys, shut up!
I mean, because we were so happy to be, like,
Indoors.
indoors, and be sitting, and not getting our butts wet by doing it.
Yep.
Stupid missions, and they don't amount to anything, and they're stupid.
Yeah, this is, I think, the time of the day where I really was feeling the fatigue, and I wasn't even acting.
I think everybody was. This was just...
It's like
This was awful.
if we had a snack or something, you know, like Gatorade or something, that would have been the world of difference, but we made through. We'll know for next year.
Oh yeah, this is all my previous work in production has been in theater, so film was a brand new experience to me, and yeah, there are just so many things I would do differently. But even coming at it from the aspect of having done theater production before, I was just amazed at all of the things that they didn't do or they hadn't thought of that were brand new to them, that I was like, no, you don't understand, we have to do this. Lindsay, like, I just don't even know.
Yeah. The one that really cracks me up is when she's kind of, like, thrusting. I think originally in the rough cut, too, he was watching, like, the sound coming from the TV was just, like, a bunch of cartoon sound effects.
Yeah. This is my friend James, who did this part. We were actually originally supposed to film in his house, but it was being redone. So we actually filmed in this friend's house instead, which you don't get a very good look at it, but this is also the same house that they filmed in for Kickassia. It turns out we used this house for a lot of shooting.
Yeah. It's
and this is the computer center right here.
Yeah.
Where all the computers were set, and Doug, it's time.
It's like almost like a command center. It's just kind of a wall of computers, and all surrounded is just like, seriously, it feels like you're in NORAD or something like that.
This book is amazing. Rob and Doug did all of the writing and drawing in there.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. I mean, and there's pages and pages and pages worth of stuff in there.
No, it looks really good.
Yeah. Because before we started shooting, I was over at their house one day for a meeting, and I was looking through the book, and I was like, oh my gosh, guys, this is crazy.
You know,
But this way.
initially I thought Rob here would have a bit too much of the Santa Christ, you know, because he plays Santa Christ. Initially I thought he would be, you know, that would show through a little bit, but he really got into character with the squeaky voice and just
He really did, yeah.
loser in a basement somewhere.
Yeah, from the 80s.
And behind, right behind Rob there, all of those little shelf things are filled with discs of all types. He's got...
yeah, that's actually what those containers are.
even the big floppy disks. He has a row of those. I don't even think he has a computer that could probably run them, but he's got them.
Well, if you can see some of the stuff that's on the walls, he does, Zach the Lego Maniac, Jay, does these artwork that's a program that he wrote on, and it's for old Macs. And then I'll hang them on the wall, and the program will continuously run, and the image will constantly change.
Yeah.
Just very slowly.
I thought that initially they were, like, frozen, or, yeah, like, if you don't have a screensaver, and the old school laptops like that would cause weird shapes and colors to be permanently stuck on the screen. I thought that's what they were, and they were just kind of...
No, that's actually a program that he wrote.
It's a cool piece of art, and he's got them,
Yeah.
3 or 4 of them, throughout the house.
Yeah, he's actually given them away as gifts before,
Aw.
too.
Big, strong hand.
I know. I love that.
In the book. So you picked up right where I left off.
And if you notice too, and the camera kind of pans up a little bit above Doug's head,
In another location.
this is in Chicago, but above Doug's head there's a sticker for Papa John's, and I thought that was really funny. Like, really?
Oh, we do actually have Papa John's here.
Yeah, I just think that blows
yeah.
me away, because you're in Chicago, you know?
Yeah, I know, Chicago-style pizza, and yeah, Patty, my friend, who is actually engaged to Zach the Lego Maniac, really loves Papa John's. So, they order from...
It just seems really sacrilegious, you know? It's like going to Paris and getting a Big Mac.
Dark stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's why they can't do all those things.
Yeah, as I said.
But anyway, I mentioned Chuck Jaffer's Rob's character being from the 80s. There was actually a reference to the time period earlier in the film, and the lines got written out, and it was about it was about Reagan getting shot. And so that was supposed to give you the time period that Jaffer's disappeared in.
That was cut from the final release?
Yeah.
Oh! I thought it was still in there. All the copies we have, it's still in there.
Yeah, it's a quick couple lines. I think that we just didn't shoot it.
It's the line is the mazes and monsters. He's just finishing about that, and it's like this tragic end. And on a lighter note, the president has been shot. It's just yeah. I thought that.
Well, yeah, that line is in there. It's Justin was supposed to have a line right after that said, "I hope Reagan is okay."
Oh, that's right.
And so that was supposed to give you the time period, and I don't know, because there was a short exchange after that. I just don't know if maybe it just didn't fit with the flow. But we did cut out some things we shot just for the sake of time. This is over 2 hours, and we still had to cut stuff. Here's another person who's a terrible shot with a gun coming up right here. I like how they all, they see the gun, but they wait around until he starts shooting to run away.
Well, to be fair, it does look like he doesn't know how firearms work in general.
Yeah.
Kind of this doofus.
And this is a very cramped space. When they were filming downstairs, we had to be upstairs. When they were filming upstairs, we had to be downstairs. There was just no room at all.
Yeah, and in the garage, it's full of beer.
Yes, they have the most epic beer cellar that you could possibly imagine. They actually frequently have come to my house and drink my beer night. Because they just have that much beer, and in order to keep new beer, or get new beer and drink it while it's at its peak, they have to drink my beer nights. And they've actually told people, don't bring beer. You can bring food, cheese, whatever. Whatever it is, just don't bring beer.
Yeah. The whole garage he has an inventory system for it.
Oh yeah, it's another thing that he wrote a computer program for, to rate beer, track what they have, how much of what they have, and they're all people who are part of the Inebriati. Jade, Patty, James, and the Inebriati had a first episode on That Guy with the Glasses, and then we just didn't have time to edit much beyond a couple of shorts, anything after that.
I think originally here, Matt was supposed to be the line was, what kind of tree would you like to be? But Matt couldn't think of many tree varieties, so he just kind of kept going with it. Oh, it's so lovely, it's so pretty, but it still works out, right?
Yeah.
We're so mean.
Yeah, for all of this shot, rather than, because this group moved around a lot more than the first group did, we thought it would be easier to keep our stuff all in one place, and then to shoot separately from that, so we didn't have to keep moving stuff around. And yeah, so I was actually not exactly there for a lot of the shooting for day 2.
Mars Girl desperately trying not to crack up.
Yeah, and you can see Matt continuously pull her armband down from
From up on her arm there.
yeah. Luke.
Yeah, I
The,
think...
the reflection of him in the ball is really good. And it's nice because the curve, you can't really see the reflection of the cameraman, or even myself, who was taking still shots while this was being filmed.
Yeah, I think this is the last day that I was... Or the only day where I actually left, so to speak, early. And I think
Yeah.
we shot this around 4 or 5 in the afternoon, and by that point I was just so tired that I went home, or I went back to the hotel room and took a nap.
Well, and you had twisted your ankle the day before, so...
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And fall, and I think you ended up torquing your knee when you fell?
Yeah, yeah.
For exactly what happened.
Well, I think Orlando kind of, like, he landed the shot wrong, and so I landed hard, and it was a combination of me falling over and him kind of falling on my knee.
Yeah, okay, so in that shot right there, you just saw the computer hanging up on the wall.
It's cool. Makes you wonder what they do, with old electronics. It's nice that he found something to do with them.
Yeah. It's actually kind of funny that we ended up shooting here completely by coincidence, because here we have Malachite, who's completely against technology, and you can see all of these computers and...
Yeah, it's a veritable shrine.
Stuff in the background. Yeah. It's like you've walked into Technology Central right here.
Yep. This guy's house, though, is just like a nerd heaven.
It is nerd heaven.
There's like Star Wars stuff all over. There's anime things. There's just computers and beer. It's awesome. Jay is somebody that would be awesome to hang out with.
Dude, that's my heart.
I guess he didn't have the heart for it. Yeah.
Oh man. No, I wish I had my phone. Because I have this app that you can press and it'll do the...
Yeah. That bathroom, actually, I remember using that bathroom, but I was really self-conscious because everybody else is in the other room.
Yeah.
And it's kind of right near eye level for outside, so it doesn't feel like you have much privacy. Just in case you were wondering, folks.
So what do we do now?
Their bathroom upstairs is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe an evil witch got in the way of the reception.
Yeah, that must be it. Perhaps there was some type of sorceress interference.
Sage looks
Quick.
very miserable.
He does. He was. Like, I tried to buy him allergy medicine, but that didn't even work because it was literally the fur just kept going into his mouth.
Everything didn't work, all right? It was a total waste of time. I don't even want to fight a ghost.
But yeah, whenever you're ready to say something epic, I can yeah for you.
From the sound of it, everyone's gonna be screwed if they get hold of it.
Okay.
I don't even know this Malachite guy is still alive. I mean, how could he live for so long? I told you, it's magic, bitch. Well, you know what? I'm starting to believe it. And just
It's magic.
I'm starting to think
Don't have to explain it, it's magic.
magical idiots using their potions on me. I mean, for God's sakes, can't they use a normal sword? Can't they play fair? And I'm sick of Zelda. Never being the same.
Doug's part is filmed completely separately. We filmed all of the reaction shots, and Doug went back later and shot this. Oh. Well, there we go.
A little bit delayed, but there we go.
I actually didn't mean to hit it. That's really funny.
He was waiting for someone to go after it. Someone
Well, that was for earlier then. There you go,
Yes,
people.
yes, it was a retroactive, yeah.
determined enough to follow through with it.
You know, you really are greedy. Well, even if that was true, how could you be following us?
Well, the book said something about a tracking spell.
I was just
Maybe
thinking,
it's on the map.
so who complained more about the food, Benzai or Lewis?
I don't know. I think
And we can't contact
Benzai probably did, because there isn't anything that I could have ever done to have made Benzai happy.
Right.
You know, Lewis, if I got him, you know, chicken strips or nuggets or Subway, he was okay.
Yeah.
Chain pizza.
Picky eaters. Which is a little frustrating, especially because, you know,
Yeah.
you have to get food in bulk. It's not easy to do individual orders. I mean, we
No,
realized
it is
that
really difficult.
like the first day when we got McDonald's, and
Yeah, we got McDonald's for breakfast, and we took individual orders, and we decided that after that we weren't ever going to do that again.
yeah, it was a bit too chaotic.
And the big reveal.
Dun, dun, dun.
Suede?
Suede was slightly before my time, or at least when I was following the site. My first video that I ever saw of Doug Walker's was the Mortal Kombat Annihilation video.
Yeah.
So, but he was around that time. I just never got to see his stuff.
Yeah, there's so much about Suede's costume. Suede had actually just gotten married right before he came to the shoot. So we had to provide a good portion of his costume. That cloak there has armholes that we had to pin close. That mask is borrowed. That sword is borrowed. It was really great to have Allison there for this, by the way, because then it explains to people who have not been following the site as long as others who Suede is.
Yeah. She's kind of the voice of reason for a little bit, or just, you know. Oh, hi, Lisa.
Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my hamster, father. That's not even a person!
Not even a person. And then I love Brad's explanation here.
God, he just looks so charming when he smiles like that.
Yeah.
Brad is so very, very nice. I mean, he's
Film brain in the back. And Paw. Paw's totally mugging for the camera, the wink and the thumbs up. I don't know if you caught that, but
no, I didn't.
I love that.
Somewhere around the line, we have the blanket that's taped. That everybody signed. I'm not sure what happened to it though.
It actually was given to the homeowners as a thank you for letting us use their house. But yeah, she's not actually taped there. This is again one of the things that's explained in the behind the scenes. But what ended up happening is we ended up taping a blanket all the way across. This is actually an idea of the homeowners. After our first idea didn't work. And you can watch the behind the scenes to find out what that is. But we just taped across the blanket and then tucked it under her and sat her on the sofa. As that was our plan. So, and it worked out really well.
Yeah. Although we also had like 6 rolls of extra duct tape.
Yeah, we did. Mashad bought a lot of duct tape. It was insane. So this all was shot on the first day while we were still at the Walker's house.
It was funny too. I remember hearing a lot of speculation that, you know, James Rolfe wasn't going to be in this, you know, a cameo again. But nope, here he is.
Yeah, well, even when people read it, we actually kept this a secret from them for the most part. People thought James was going to be James Rolfe. And we were like, no, that's going to be somebody else. And they were like, oh, well, all right. And then here we have his cameo.
Oh, and Mars Girl, I have feelings too.
And everybody was like, there were a lot of people who thought that this cameo wasn't necessary. And, you know, maybe it wasn't necessary to have James specifically play this part, but we had a part open. We had somebody that we knew who was a good actor, and that's what we did.
Yeah. I really do think, though, that this story kind of helps solidify what's going on a little bit better, too.
Yeah, there's the exposition for Group 1 in the form of Chuck Jaffers, and then there's this from The Voice that explains the rest of the story that you don't know at this point.
Yeah, and it really helps to kind of bridge the gap, at least for the last fight, especially with Mati and the importance of his ring.
Yeah.
And that image right there is a modified version of the Sorcerer from Dungeons & Dragons 3rd Edition.
That is a good little bit of trivia there. Yeah, I had no idea where this came from.
That image of, him with the staff and it's modified from the artwork in Dungeons & Dragons. So at least the core rule book, Hennet the Sorcerer. I think his name is. In case you were wondering.
I'm pretty sure the guy who played Bill did this set of animation, so I'm gonna have to make fun of him for being a huge nerd now. Like I have any right to be like, ha, you're a nerd, but
Yeah, I'm not exactly without sin on that in that way.
Right. I do work for Channel Awesome, so. I think that might explain it all right there.
Yep.
Malachite created a magic stone that would give him unlimited power. He attached the stone to his gauntlet, also known as Malachite's hand.
Yeah, I think, wasn't the inspiration for this, back in, I think like January or something like that, DaishoCon, Doug, myself, Lewis, and another person went to see Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 on opening night. And there's a section in the movie where it kind of, is like a fairy tale, and it's done with very similar styling.
I love that animation.
Yeah.
That set of animation. I just saw the first part of the movie the other day. I know I'm behind the times.
But yeah, I think that's what inspired this. Because when we got out of the movie theater, Doug was very, very complimentary to that.
It's entirely possible. I think a lot of times fans, in particular, forget that Doug has a pretty good, art and animation background. So it didn't surprise me at all to see that something like this got added. Because people ask where we get images for a lot of things, and that's honestly Doug finding stuff on DeviantArt. That's how he finds artists, is he just looks at it. So.
Yeah, so you with DeviantArt accounts, keep doing what you're doing. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. Doug might be checking out your stuff.
What happened to Ale? What happened to him and his creations?
Hell if I know.
For people who weren't filming this was really rough because this sound travels through this house so easily. Like, you couldn't move. You couldn't take a step on the floor. And I know at one point they yelled at us to stop moving around, and that's because the guy who played Bill came home and he just walked in not realizing what was going on.
Yeah, we're in this whole area is next to the bar in the basement.
Bar, yeah.
So literally you can't whisper because you can hear it.
And Kaylin's phone, my girl, her phone kept going off. And so in between takes, because I kept having to get up and just hit cancel call. And I couldn't turn the phone off because her phone had some sort of lock on it. So finally, I'm frustrated. It's the end of the day. People are hot. They're tired. They're cranky. And I fling the door open, and I'm like, who does this belong to? And she's very apologetic. Oh, that's me. I'm sorry. I'm like,
dang you for diffusing my anger.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see the stagnant water in that field.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that that shot was actually filmed within the days after we originally shot this, because although that field was just really, really damp, like it was squishy.
Yep.
There was no actual standing water, and I think the standing water happened because we routinely would trample the ground in an area to the point where it was just brown, and so we kept having to move.
Yep.
And it kept adding holes in the field.
Yeah, I want to know why Lisa is a roommate with that guy with the, that guy.
Yeah.
How that came about, but...
I guess they're married. Fanfic away, people. The storm being
Will somebody cheer up Phelan?
Oh, Phelan.
Yeah, and see, here we go again. The makeup is done all over the face, and Allison being like, "No, you will I will
You're
hurt
gonna be a lady and like it."
Oh, I just noticed in that shot right behind Doug, you can see our pile of stuff, like the paper towels and all of that, because people kept having to wipe their hands because it was so muddy, and yeah.
Yeah, and the wooden kind of jungle gym equipment in their backyard is kind of where we set up a base camp, so to speak.
But yeah, so you can see it a little bit behind in these shots of Rob and Doug.
Are we cool now? Nah, I still gotta kill you. Of course.
Guess that means I'll have to kill you.
Phyllis, you're back. I guess he realized that true friends are made of flesh and blood and not of material possessions.
You better believe, too, that Benzai, he didn't have a shirt on, so he was always going, my nipples, they're so hard. Benzai, please stop.
Well, leave it to Benzai to talk about his nipples.
Yeah.
There, in a lot of the behind-the-scenes shots, you see Phelan playing with his balls, as we called them.
I mean, it a lot of people called the Power Glove gimmick thing or whatever, but you really have to have the Power Glove for this. It just fits way too well. And the whole, I love the Power Glove, it's so bad.
Yeah.
Come on, guys, that has to be done. That's like in Kick-Assia if he hadn't done the of course thing.
I know. It's necessary.
And that was sitting in their basement for the entirety of the shoot.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. That is pretty awesome. I'm Willow. Yes. Yes, you are.
I'm Willow. Yes. Yes, you are. I don't know why Tom Tom will say that he's a bad actor, but Tom is completely willing to do all of these really bizarre, crazy, insane things. So
he's kind of got this quiet deadpan humor about him.
Yeah,
it's not.
It works.
Yeah,
it works.
It just works very well for his attitude, I guess. So.
I just noticed how Benzai is kind of bent over there. It just looks like he's taking a dump.
Yeah, holding her hat.
Yeah.
Because it's so windy.
And we actually did have cars constantly driving by. And the hill behind Doug here is actually where people would sit and watch us film. I mean, and people watched us probably for a good half hour.
Yeah.
It was amazing that people were willing to sit around that long. And that shot, actually, you just saw somebody stand up. I'm not really sure why, but, yeah, I guess they were just walking by and we're like, hey, let's check this out.
There's a bunch of...
I'm gonna guess that maybe they probably drove by the first time and then we're like, we gotta go back.
Yeah, what are these people doing?
This day we fight!
Really getting into this.
So by all the cool gizmos and technological toys that you hold dear on this good earth, stand! Reviewers of the internet!
And there goes Lupa.
Yes, I love the arm flailing.
She plays a very good kind of just pathetic limp-wristed princess very well.
I totally just noticed that you could see that sword was made in China. That's really funny. I think that broom was just in the Walker's house.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's the one I used to sweep the floor. I know a lot of people, too, were saying that, like, oh, plastic sword fighting, oh, that's kind of lame. But no, given just the accidents that happened, Doug was very adamant about not having actual bladed weapons. Because, I mean, that's just an accident waiting to happen.
Yeah, I mean, towards the end of the fighting, we did have problems with the plastic weapons starting to fall apart. But, I mean, I'd much rather people have an accident with a plastic weapon than a real one.
Yeah. Because inevitably we'd be the ones to drive them to the hospital.
Yeah. Denzai with his teeth there.
Yeah, the breaking of the sword was completely accidental. That was not planned out.
It's funny because there's a quick shot in there of group fighting, and you see Mickey with his sword in his hand again.
Continuity? What's that?
Well, you know, we always just run with it because, I mean, look at Kick-Assia. Kick-Assia was a big fuck you to continuity. So.
Exactly. Yes, we do see Benzai's underwear.
Yeah. Benzai in his underwear. And Tom and Mickey standing around in the back, hanging out. Allison biting that puppet. I was sort of like, God, I hope she didn't really put that in her mouth.
Yeah.
This with the ear was totally ad-libbed. That was... It just happened. This was the only day, like, when we were in the house, Phelan was kind of warm, but this was the only day that it was genuinely nice weather.
Yeah.
So if you were sitting on the sidelines, you were perfectly fine. So Phelan was dying because he had this sweatshirt that had been painted, so it wasn't very breathable anymore, over the sweatshirt he was wearing. And I think he had a t-shirt on under that.
Yeah, I think this entire battle sequence, too, lasted for at least 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah, this was several hours, because you guys started the battle sequence in the morning, and I was still trying to take care of the lunch order and all of that, and it was still going well into the afternoon after we had had lunch and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Mickey and his flying.
I'm flying, Wendy! I think after that first take, Tom was like, that's the viral video of the week.
Another epic cameo here. And Mickey with his broken off sword in the background. Well, what is now his broken off sword?
I think at this point we had Ed Glazer and I think Rob also doing the shots here, so they did do a very good job of making it look chaotic. And then
this is actually Ed Glazer and I think Bargo shot some of it.
Okay.
But I love Phelan in the background fighting Jim J. Ross, who did some of a little bit of camera work for this when he wasn't needed for filming, but Phelan's fighting him with his hand. He just, like, pounds Mickey into the ground there.
I always like to, in the background with Critic and, Rob, like, he's chasing him with the sword, and then he he chases him back the other way. Yeah, I always like that gag.
Yeah.
Like, how did he get the sword? I don't know, but he's chasing him now, so.
Nostalgia stands alone.
Yeah. Shouldn't we help him?
And you can really tell, looking at Spoonie's wig, how it just kind of is deteriorating.
Yeah, he's gotten all frizzy and stuff. And this was only day 2 for him.
Mm-hmm.
And Mars Girl with her new costume, they had actually taken the white part of her costume that was the upper part, and apparently housekeeping had taken it as thinking it was part of the bedding, because she had left it on the bed. And she actually made that out of a t-shirt that she bought at Target. And it looks perfect, like you would never know. I didn't even know until she told me that she had remade it.
That's dedication right there.
Yeah. I love the gag here with Justin.
that just
So blinded by the epic
magnificent.
beauty. Yeah.
Just like it's he's gonna take out his cock when this fight starts.
But it's so beautiful.
Yeah, you can really see there with Todd in the shadows how pressed down and muddy the ground got.
And there's another set of underwear that we can see.
Oh, one for Profion.
Todd's pants are completely falling down.
And the leather jacket that Lupa has, that's her actual jacket.
Yeah.
So
well, this is really funny because afterwards, several of the guys came up to me. I won't name any names for their sake. But they were like, "Wow, that was really hot." They're like, "I'm not gonna lie, that was really hot."
Obscurus Lupa wearing a leather jacket, in a Snow White costume, shooting a gun.
What are you doing here?
Slade.
Finding the stone!
All right.
Let me see that.
I like how he sticks it on there, and they look at it for just a split second, and like,
Oh.
"What the fuck is this?" Okay, and and then we move on. Bennett in that costume totally cracks me up. His costume and Phelan's costume were supposed to be genuinely bad costumes, so I mean that was written into the script. When I came up with the idea for Phelan's costume, I was like, I think this will work, because when Doug sent out the script and told everybody what their costumes should be, the note beside Phelan's name was, "Good luck, I have no idea what you're going to do." So, I waited a while, and then I was like, "So do you have an idea for your costume?" And he was like, "No," and I was like, "Great, because I have an idea."
I think Paw did a really good job making the Profion costume, because I think at one point when the Dungeons & Dragons movie did come out, they did have like a Profion costume, but they're so rare and just cheap.
Until this actual viewing, I didn't realize that first shot that Malachite takes is with his pinky.
Yep, and that's kind of to show how he's so powerful he can just defeat somebody with a pinky.
Yeah.
No hard feelings?
I think the launching people into up and over gets a little bit cheesy at times, a little too Team Rocket, but
Yeah. Then Brian's like, "I'm out. I'm the last angry geek." Yeah. The critic just says it. Last angry geek. Like his show. Join his Facebook page.
Hey, I know you, Bam. Yeah. Malachite's so mean.
Yeah, and just a flick of his fingers and they're gone. That shows how powerful his magic is.
Yeah. And I think more than Kick-Assia was more a story of just, people being jerks to one
Bumbling
another.
idiots.
Yeah.
Yeah, and jerks.
Yeah. But this one really kind of shows more of a threat and more of a storyline.
And they really come together
Yeah.
in this.
Especially over Mati. I know some people said, oh yeah, it was predictable, but no, it really works.
Well, and, we wanted people to know that something's going to happen and it's going to have Mati. But when he actually dies, people were like, oh my god, I can't believe that happened. They killed Mati. They killed Mati.
Oh, by the by, the segment with Orlando just pointing down with the crotch shots. I don't know why I find that so funny. I have no reason to, because it's so stupid. Oh, I laughed really hard. I think
I love Justin's constantly explaining things to Malachite.
Yeah, I think at this point I was inside nursing the knee.
Yeah.
Good. Bad. I'm the guy with the magic gun.
Magic gun or not.
Yeah, the effects here were actually really well done too, and
Toyota!
again, it really shows the evolution of the way the scripts are written, the way things are shot. I mean, this one definitely has more of a budget behind it, and you can see that, and it looks really good.
Whoa! That was awesome!
Well, and this is Doug really starting to use other people for what they do best. Because he knew that he wanted Phelan to do the effects. And before we even shot, he told Phelan and Apollo Z Hack what shots were going to need effects. And told them, work it out amongst yourselves, who's going to do what. And hopefully, if there's anything you can't do, let me know. And I don't think they said no to a single shot. I think everything he asked for, they did. Mickey there. He's like, yeah. No, that's all I got.
That's all I got. I do like, though, with Spoonie, how he just throws his staff down in disgust.
Yeah. Well,
and then Lindsay there just kind of doing the thrusting motion.
Yeah.
I mean, how has that not been written about in the fan fiction section yet?
Yeah. This whole movie is fanfic central.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then now you finally see what actually happens when she does this. Because before you've only been actually seeing what the vision is.
Apparently, too, that dress is very difficult to move in because the train is really, really long. And especially on this field, it was picking up a lot of dirt and sticks and things.
Yeah, it really worked out that we had the teams go in the order that they did, because after the fight, Nella's costume is completely made on the spot, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's actually a bed sheet from Rob and Doug's house. And she's got a white shirt on, which is what she was wearing, and then the part from Lindsay's costume, that lace part.
Okay. It looks pretty convincing.
That flip is actually done in 2 separate shots, and it comes together so well.
Yeah, it looks great.
You would never, ever know.
Orlando does his own stunts. He's hardcore.
Yeah.
I think Shiva will get over it.
And then Brad just taking off.
Which is funny, because, he shows up again later, so it's like...
Where'd he go?
And then you see the power.
Yep. It'll be interesting to see, every single year, Channel Awesome outdoes itself. And we've been told that they're actually script writing now, because they're...
Yeah, they are script writing right now.
So, the, next year, it'll be even more interesting to see where they go with it.
Yeah, because even this year, by going through the experience, they learned a lot, and I was able to add a lot of input about how stuff should work in a production, and it's, you know, so we're starting very early this time. Early in terms of us, obviously, in terms of feature films, this is like, what the hell are you doing? This is so late.
Yeah.
But, yeah. The phone call there, by the way, is a reference to Orlando's real-life job. He actually owns a coffee shop.
Oh, yeah. And what are you gonna do when all of technology is destroyed?
So his explaining what a latte is, the cappuccino.
You are an idiot.
I do like his kind of, no I didn't, or no I'm not.
I guess somebody.
And then, Doug really played the disgust there very, very well. I mean, in just terms of acting, I think everybody was on their A game today, or the day we shot. Because most of the takes that were done were only done, you know, a couple times.
Yeah. And you have to realize that all of these reaction shots, or all of that team, when they're standing together, you're only seeing the reaction. We didn't film Orlando's shots that day.
Mm-hmm. Mati, no.
So part of Bargo's shots are filmed on that day. Some of them aren't. I love this whole speech monologue by Mati.
It's funny because if you watch his body language, he's kind of being like this, you know, I'm a badass, you know, I don't even care because I'm, you know, he's got this swagger about him, especially when he's twirling his head around. It's just like, it's so not his character that I think it works very well.
It's not. He's just so tired of being pushed around that he's just like, fuck this. I love that.
I don't know who wrote the line specifically, but like, oh, he can't do anything worse than what Ted Turner did to me. Good God, that's good writing.
Yeah, Rob and Doug write the scripts together, so I don't know what lines came from who.
Yeah, that.
And there are some things that are improv too. And then Mati's like, I'm completely fucked right now. Right.
You know, I'm surprised too, but also not surprised that Mati, for all of his time on the shows, he still has a piece of paper taped to his shirt.
Yeah, I know that we've never bothered to make that into a real shirt for him.
Yeah,
you know, I don't know why we haven't, but yeah.
It just kind of adds more, I think, to the lameness of his character. He can't even get a real Planeteer shirt. He has to tape it on his shirt. The beleaguered bitch, in a way, I guess, kind of comes off. Deus Ex Machina with Spoonie.
Yeah, because if everybody will remember what happened when Spoonie got launched, he should have been going the other direction. So he should have hit Malachite from the other direction.
Unless, of course, you know, he got diverted or something.
Yeah, something so epic happened. Yeah.
Or he hit a plane or something. Got knocked off course. Whatever, it's very minor, but I'm sure people already brought it up.
No, that was the first thing I noticed. I was like, but he was going the other way. But there are a couple of shots in this field where they show opposing shots from the same direction, and so you're like, wait a second, how can that be in the background of both shots? But I think part of it was just Doug trying to use the light that was available.
Exactly.
Because you can see in the group shots, this is at the end of the day. We shot this day pretty much in order.
Yep.
And it was getting dark. It made for some really great scenes coming up, but before you get to the death and the funeral for Mati.
Yeah, it's funny too. For the longest time, I thought Bargo actually talked, like that was his actual speaking voice. Yeah, I'm Mati.
I wonder how many people actually think that.
Well, I was one of them. Not well for a while. I knew eventually. I think on the Drop Dead Fred review, Bargo comes in and starts, talking in his normal voice.
Yeah.
And to the effects here, they smeared him with mud all over his neck and arms.
Yeah. I like the like Mati still.
He's still like, yes, be quiet, I'm talking.
Yeah.
Like,
Very like I don't know. I can't even think of like a word for it, but he still has his balls.
yep. And I really,
Which usually with Mati he doesn't. So.
and I really do like both of their kind of, Mati's got his hand on Doug's face, and he tracks it down his face, and it's covered in mud, and he actually gets his lip. Like both.
Yeah, and pulls his glasses off.
And Doug doesn't break character. It's just like he basically put
I
a muddy finger in his mouth and just kept going with it. And then Doug's thighs there are so white that it looks like
Sitting like a pretty
lady. Yep.
Yeah, there are a lot of shots that look like they're tights, but it's just the whiteness of his legs. That's my canister of oatmeal.
Which was sitting in the kitchen the entire time we were shooting.
Yeah. And they did a little artwork to it to make it our own. I'm not sure why Todd was in charge of the cremation of Monty. That's really weird.
Yeah. Well, it's even stranger that Pa has what looks like the top half of a broken pipe that plays the bagpipe.
It is the top half of a broken pipe.
That's what I thought it was.
Yeah, it's the old Ask That Guy pipe.
Okay, that's right.
And it broke, and so, because there's a story behind this, we needed a kazoo. And I had a kazoo. So I brought it the first day of filming and gave it to Pa, and it was his to keep track of, and because it was his prop. This is why I'm never letting anyone be in charge of their props again. Not just him, but everybody at some point lost some prop they were supposed to have.
Yep, everybody, or just, I think Justin left his camera the first day of filming at the Walker's place.
Yeah.
And just everybody was forgetting something or misplacing something else. And
But yeah, so originally Pa was supposed to have a kazoo, and we tried filming it with some wax paper over a comb, but it didn't really play that well on film, and so somebody found the top half of the pipe, and we just took that and and shot it. Look, guys, it's Tom being useful.
What's interesting about Tom is that he comes off as a very kind of cool guy. You know, like he's got a natural just, yeah, I'm Tom, what of it, I'm cool about him, but he's actually a little bit shy. Like,
yeah, no, when you hang out with him, you'd never know.
Mm-hmm.
He's very outgoing and gregarious. And then you get him on camera, and he just kind of becomes sort of geeky and awkward.
And apparently, too, when Spoonie apparently is going to get to the Final Fantasy 13 review eventually, and we're hoping that he's going to use that Martino.
Yeah. I hope so. This is so sad.
I know.
You see the coffee cup, and you're like, oh.
And like, yeah, Doug actually does look kind of heartbroken.
Yeah. Kicked it right in the groin and shot it when it was down.
And you can really tell in this last shot here, this is kind of the afterthought day random stuff. Yeah, Doug is really sunburned.
So sunburned. I don't know if you get a good view of it, but probably not. His shirt probably covers it up. But on his neck, you could see where the tie was. So there's like a very clear... It doesn't show well on camera, I don't think, but there was a very clear definition of where the tie was and then where he got sunburned. And a million fangirls swooned.
Indeed. Lewis can sing, but he doesn't dance very well. Yeah, I said it. I said it.
I just love if you can lip read. Bargo says something about being fucking pissed off in that shot. I don't know what he's talking about. I don't recall that episode. I'm sure I've seen it, but...
I think that was with the brawl.
I don't know.
And he was just getting kicked on the ground.
Yeah, that was from the brawl.
Some people have speculated that this ending leaves it open for a sequel, like the next one will be kind of following that storyline. And I'm interested to see, because I honestly don't know at this point. But if that is a possibility, or there's another possibility that we'll take it in another direction, so...
You never know. People thought that we were going to do Kick-Assia 2.0 this time around.
Yep.
And that's not what we did. People who have purchased the DVD already know that there is a special feature about the search for the Necronomicon. So...
Yep.
But there's still further speculation about if we're going to follow up on this story.
Also, yeah, we're not going to say it, but there are some things on the DVD that aren't going to be released on the website that would be very interesting to know at this ending point here. So
yeah,
so check it out and support the site.
Yeah, I love how like he has managed to mail the bum in the middle of the forest.
Somehow he found a way.
But yeah, this is like, I love this as like an ending because it has just created so much buzz about what's going on. But, you know, and it's different. It was definitely unexpected.
Definitely. And even the people who kind of said, like, oh, it's just... and there we go, to be continued 2012.
Yeah. This song is by Sad Panda, Julian Diaz. Wrote this song specifically for this. And there were a lot of people who were like, wow, that ending song was just so perfect. Well, he did actually write this song specifically for this. Back when the working title was Flight of Fantasy. So, but the theme just fit so well that we love the song so much. We're like, no. Don't do anything. Don't change it. We love it. Because we heard before he went into the studio to record it, we heard a rough cut of what the song would sound like, and yeah, I think it's the best he's ever written.
Definitely.
As far as I'm concerned.
I am really, really glad, though, that the twist was able to kind of be kept under wraps for a while, you know?
Yeah, I am too. Marion's artwork here is amazing.
Yep.
I had seen the Phalis one because she sent it to Phalis, and then he showed it to me, and I was like, oh, I feel so special that my ridiculous costume is now made to artwork.
Exactly. Well, any final thoughts that we want to do before we wrap this up?
No, just, thank you guys for your continued support throughout the years, and, tune in next year and you'll find out, did we wrap up the story?
Yeah, and next year we're going to outdo ourselves once more.
Yep.
And this last shot here, too, that ties into Lewis's continuity. So maybe check out some of his older videos to find out what specifically. But,
Yeah.
I'm so excited for next year.
I know. So am I.
So on that note, thanks for watching, everybody, and thanks for supporting the site.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Bye.